Hello and welcome to TB3 Sports Talk. You're listening to episode 80. We love those big numbers and we're thankful for you listening.
And I'm thankful. I know this is in Tampa, but I got to say I'm thankful for the Florida Gators, a basketball national championship.
I mean, it's all right. Like, we're TB3. I mean, the three teams as well kind of fits college sports.
I know this isn't TB University, but let me be happy. Just let me be happy. Will is obviously, he's not here because he's so sad that Florida won a national championship. That's a joke. He'll be back next week. But big weeks. A little bit of disappointing weeks for the Lightning and the Rays.
It's kind of like, well, if we're talking some Gators basketball, I guess it makes sense for this episode.
Yes, yeah. That's what's been keeping me going. Like, I'll be honest. I'm sure we have some viewers that are Gators basketball fans and also Rays and Bucks and Lightning fans. But, I've been watching a lot of Gators basketball, Rays baseball kind of as a backdrop, Lightning hockey as a backdrop. But last night was the Tuesday night Rays game, and it was, if you guys are watching, I'm sure you guys know that it was a horrible game. But going from, my Gators, my clutch second half cardiac Gators, national champions, to the unclutches team of all time, the 2025 Rays.
Pitiful.
It was jarring. I was like, what the heck? I knew that. I knew it was. I was really at Rays season.
You can really compare. It's a good team on Monday.
Yeah.
Horrible team on Tuesday.
And the Lightning are somewhere in the middle.
It sets the scales. Yeah.
It keeps me humble.
It does.
I had a big head, and it kept me humble. But I think
makes you appreciate what good management, good ownership can do for a college like that.
Spending money, now in college you spend money to get players.
These guys will stick around.
Yeah. Yes. So we're going to talk about the Lightning first, though, because it is Wednesday night, April 9th. Happy April 10th to everyone who's listening tomorrow. But the Tampa Bay Lightning had a huge game. Me and Joel, we were in TB3 Studios in the call room. We were just watching the Lightning game on TV, guys. I don't know. I was trying to come up with some cool slang. It wasn't working. But me and Joel were watching the Lightning game on TV, and unfortunately, it was a heartbreaking finish. The Lightning and the Maple Leafs. So if you did not know, the Lightning were 2 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs headed into this game. For first place in the Atlantic Division. So if the Lightning were able to win this game in regulation, they would be tied for first place in the Atlantic Division with 4 games remaining. However, the game went to overtime, and then kind of some haymakers thrown both sides for these teams in overtime. But the Maple Leafs threw the knockout punch. Matthew Nyes got a game-winning goal in overtime. The Maple Leafs would win 4-3. And now, as the standings sit, the Toronto Maple Leafs sit in first place in the Atlantic Division with 100 points, 78 games played. The Tampa Bay Lightning sit second place in the Atlantic Division, 97 points, 78 games played. And then you have the Florida Panthers in third place, 94 points, 78 games played. And then sneaking in there, Ottawa, 90 points with 78 games played. So it's a pretty tight race. Again, with only 4 games remaining, 82 games in a regular season for all 4 of these teams, it's getting tight. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty, and this was a pretty big opportunity wasted by the Lightning tonight.
Oh, yeah, super concerning. The game's a game. Lightning are playoff bound. We're clinched. But to get first place is pivotal for the Lightning because they are 18-18 on the season right now on the road, so they need to get Game 7s at home going into the playoffs, and as it stands right now, we would have the home field advantage for the Florida series, but if we were to have to play the Maple Leafs and probably ultimately whoever it would be in the championship series, it would likely be Game 7s on the road, and it's just concerning for this team because I don't know what it is, maybe the mojo of the team's just not built for road series.
Yeah, that is a good point. The good news is if the Maple Leafs are the number 1 seed, they have very much struggled to get out of the first round. So there's a good chance that if you're able to get past that first round series, you might be able to host a Game 7 in that second round. But for me, this has always been my concern. I know the Florida Panthers are banged up. Sam Bennett hasn't been playing a lot. Matthew Tkachuk hasn't been playing a lot. Aaron Ekblad. I think so. From what I understand, Aaron Ekblad would miss game 1 of the playoff series and then be able to come back from game 2 on. But again, Florida concerns me. Obviously, you want to be puffed up, be the Lightning. Oh, we're big brother, we want to beat them, and that's kind of how I felt last year, and it bit us in the butt. I mean, the Florida Panthers pretty much controlled that series last year. Do I think the Lightning are a much better team, and maybe potentially, depending on if they're banged up or not, Florida is a worse team? Yes, I do. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning team, they definitely have more horses in the race than they did last year, but Florida is a talented team. So is Toronto. Both those teams, from my perspective, I think, losing out on the number 1 seed, you hate to have to play one of those teams in the first round, especially on a 2-game, 2-year loss streak in the first round. Are you concerned about any psyche or just any crossover from these last 2 first-round losses heading into 2025, especially having to play a good opponent?
I do feel like some of the clutch, you could say, that the Lightning had during their Stanley Cup runs for those 3 years and even before that as well. Some of that clutch might not be with us anymore, and that's part of the reason why it would be so pivotal to have that Game 7 on the road for any of those moments when you need to be clutch. And I think a game like tonight is kind of proof of that. When you really needed to beat the Maple Leafs, you just couldn't get that go-ahead goal. You couldn't get that last second hurrah kind of statement. So there is a bit of me that's afraid, and this would be the 3rd first-round exit if we were to kind of go into the playoffs, go into the gate of the playoffs struggling. So I am a little bit concerned, and I think I would need to see a first-round win from the Lightning to kind of relinquish some of that concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's completely, justified. But I think the clutch factor that you mentioned, I think it comes down to one man, and I think that man's name is Andrei Vasilevskiy, and I do think something that kind of points me to being positive about a deep playoff run for this Tampa Bay Lightning team is his play. Quite frankly, I mean, 2024 has been one of his best years in a long, long time. He has a .923 save percentage. That is his second highest save percentage in his whole entire career. In 2018 and 19, and then in 2020 and 2021, he both had a .925 save percentage. And this year, it's his second best year. You compare that to last year, a .900 on the dot save percentage. Probably it was his worst of his career. 2022, 2023, a .915. That was, I think, his third worst of his career. Andrei Vasilevskiy, I think, is in that ability to, be the best goaltender in hockey, quite frankly, I think is what kind of brings, he's that X factor for the Lightning. And I feel better about Vazzy than I have, last year. We saw some spurts last year, but again, he was a talking point for a lot of last year. He missed that time early, and then it took him a long time to round back into shape. And the year before, there was a lot going on, the conflict in Russia and stuff. But And then I think that year the Maple Leafs, I think, was probably that series was probably Vazzy's worst playoff series I think I've ever he let in some softies, if I can remember correctly. But I think Andrei Vasilevskiy could be that clutch factor for this team that kind of brings them back to those early 2020s playoff runs. I don't know if you agree with that.
I think so. And Vazzy's not so much what concerns me. I just think when we need that goal lately, it doesn't feel like we're getting that goal. So I'm more scared on the offensive side of the game right now, which is ironic considering how successful this team's been over the last 15 years plus in scoring.
Mm-hmm. And I do think it's important to note that Jake Gensel missed tonight's game. A lot of power play chances missed. Jake Gensel missed the game because his wife is expecting a child. So again, not an injury. He should be back. That's unfortunate. Let's try to time our babies up a little bit better, Gensels. All right, we can't be having you missing these big games. That's all jokes aside. Congrats.
I mean, some sports guys do have skills with that. Like I think about that a lot with Cal Ripken. Like being able to play all those games and not timing up all of his babies perfectly.
Wasn't there a year where there was 3 babies born during the MLB All-Star break or something there was something crazy. It was how did that happen?
I would love to hear that. I would love to know if that was true.
I do think, again, The Lightning, this season, the Lightning have struggled against the Maple Leafs. They are now 0-4 against Toronto this season. 3 games, 5-2, 5-3, 5-3, and then 4-3. But I guess you could say this is the best game the Lightning have played against the Maple Leafs. I think it's the first time they've played the Maple Leafs. Yeah, first time they played the Maple Leafs since the Gord and Bjorkstrand trade. So I do think that an encouraging sign is in these big games in the last couple years, the first round years, there's a lot of times where the Lightning seem like for the majority of the game they're being outplayed. The other team was faster, quicker to the puck. I think back to, some of these other Maple Leafs games this year. I think back to the Florida series last year. The other team looked better, stronger, faster, better. It looked like, and then like the Lightning would scrap and get some goals, but it just never felt like the Lightning were in command of the game. I think in this game, the Lightning were in command of the game, at very different stretches. Like I think this was a very up and down, evenly played game. I mean, you look at shots, Maple Leafs have 31, Lightning have 28. Lightning out-hit them. Toronto 31-20 in face-offs. That's a really big thing. And then Lightning are 2 for 4 on the power play. The Leafs are 1 for 2. Brayden Point won a fight. Shout out. 33 block shots for the Maple Leafs. That's that little stuff. But I mean, giveaways were even. Takeaways were even pretty much. So I think this was a much better played game. And I look at this game almost like a playoff game. Like I really do. This was a pseudo playoff game. It sucks that the 3-on-3 overtime and the 1 point was involved because I think this was played like a playoff game. And I think the Lightning without Jake Gensel, who could argue probably their second best player this year, maybe third if you want to say Hagel or Point, but he didn't play. You got down 2-0 early. You fought back. I have a lot of encouraging things coming from this game, coming from that Rangers game where the Rangers are, they're desperate for a win in the playoff hunt. So I think there's a lot of positives that I've taken from this week, especially this Maple Leafs game.
Yeah, this has been a good week. Good as far as getting away from the losing stretch that they had over toward the end of last week. Mm-hmm. So that is good. I was trying to find just now what the Lightning's record is against teams above 500.
I think it's pretty good, actually. I think what I saw a stat. It's a while ago, but I think their record is pretty good against teams above 5. It's their record against the mediocre teams that's actually hurting them in the standings. But again, like we crush Metropolitan Division teams.
That's true.
We have struggled against the Atlantic much more than.
I think that's why it's so obvious. I mean, from the naked eye, you would think that we're not great against.
Yeah. No, Panthers and Maple Leafs. I mean, we struggle. We're 0-4 against the Maple Leafs,
and that's scary going into the playoffs because we play those Atlantic teams on the way to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, a combined 1-6 against the top 2 in the Atlantic, the Panthers.
So that's some of that stuff is what makes me pretty afraid going into this.
Yeah,
into this first round.
I mean, that's why we've been calling for the Lightning to get first in the Atlantic for weeks now. Like we as Lightning fans do not want to play these two teams, at home. First round.
They always say post season's a whole new season, but it's just definitely wouldn't say I'm comfortable going into a Florida series as much as I hate to say that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It just makes you think, man. Like you lose in a shootout to the Sabres on Saturday. I think we talked about this last week. Like I'm more concerned about the Sabres game than I am the Maple Leafs game. These silly games the Lightning have lost. I mean, Senators game. The Senators have been playing good hockey. You can excuse that a little bit more. But then I go back you lose on the road to Utah last month on March 22nd. It's just you just can't really have it, especially when you go back and you beat Utah 8-0 the following week at home. Like it's just these little things that are keeping the Lightning from being in first place. But I do think the Lightning, they're much better equipped than the last 2 years of iterations of these teams. They're much better equipped. This Lightning team is much deeper. The Gord and Bjorkstrand trade has been phenomenal. I think both those guys have been really good. Yanni Gord is all over the place at all times. Bjorkstrand, he's been kind of on a goal kick. Got one tonight, got one the other night. Like he's been playing really, really well. He's been on that power play unit. Very, very helpful. And then I think that, again, this is the best version of Vazzy we've seen in years. I think that is the X factor. I think that is what is making me feel not dread the first round. It's making me feel like, a little nervous because we haven't gotten out of it in 2 years. But I feel like this team is different because this is a different Andre Vasilevsky. And then obviously, again, you could argue, Jake Gensel hasn't been on our team the last 2 years. This is a completely different team.
Yeah, this is new.
This is a new team. I think that these first-round woes will hopefully go away. And I think this game tonight, especially without Jake Gensel, pointed me to being a little bit more positive about their first-round hopes. Except, again, the most positive I could have been was if the Lightning got first place in the Atlantic and played the Senators. But...
yeah, it would be a completely different episode had we won in regulation.
Yes, it would have been huge. Me and Joel were kind of fantasizing about that. We
had to do the math. We were like, all right, if we were to lose in this scenario, we would be 1 point, 3 points, 4 points, or 2 points, or 0 points.
There's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching for Lightning fans in the next coming days. 4 more games of the regular season. Again, anything on New York or Buffalo? I think New York was a interesting game. That was a Vazzy masterclass. 39 saves, or 38 saves on 39 shots. The Lightning get 3 goals in a minute and 45 seconds. That was impressive. That was an incredible flurry. Bjorkstrand, Yanni Gord gets his first goal back with the Lightning. Took him a long time, but he's been around. A bunch of assists for that guy. But yeah, that was impressive, especially first period. And then the Lightning kind of had to hold on for a long time. But they did it, and Vazzy was really good. And again, the New York Rangers right now are in a 3-way tie for the last playoff spot. Right now, they needed that game, needed it so bad. And they hold up. No, they're not. I apologize. New York Rangers are not in the playoff hunt. They're 8 points behind. I apologize. That was wrong.
They may have been recently.
They were recently, but Montreal. Wow, Montreal's going to get into the playoffs. That probably 3 Canadian teams in the playoffs. That's it.
Marty St.
In the
Louis,
Eastern
baby,
Conference.
Marty St. Louis.
Yeah, that is sick. But yeah, still the Rangers are still have some outside hopes for the playoffs. They needed that game. So yeah, impressive win. And as we look ahead, I think we'll just do this, right? So the Lightning have 4 games left in their schedule. They host the Red Wings on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Again, a team that is on the fringe, probably not going to make it. Got to win that game. They host the Sabres on Sunday night at 6 p.m. They host the Panthers. Oh, dude.
Yeah, we don't play the Maple Leafs. We play the Panthers.
No. Sorry. This is completely off topic, but you probably couldn't do it. But the Rays and Lightning play at the same time. Or the Rays and Lightning play like a pseudo back-to-back. Yeah. But the Rays are at 4 and the Lightning are at 6. So you can't make that back-to-back work. But it would have been fun.
I mean, if you were kind of like piecing out at the Rays.
Yeah, you could make it work.
If you wanted to piece out at the Rays, by like the 7th
we're looking for that perfect double header back-to-back.
It would do the trick. It's like if you didn't care about the Rays that much, you're just kind of going in to say hello.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Sabres Sunday, Panthers Tuesday at home, and then Rangers to finish off the season next Thursday. That's 4 games. And then you look at the Panthers. The Panthers play, obviously they play us. Panthers play the Red Wings at home, the Sabres at home, the Rangers at home, and the Lightning on the road. So basically the same schedule we have, but a little bit mixed and matched. But the same 4 teams that we play, or the same 3 teams that we play, and then we play each other. And then let's look at the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs, I think they still have the Maple Leafs have the Canadiens, the Hurricanes, the Sabres, and the Red Wings. There's an avenue. Canadiens and Hurricanes back-to-back, those are 2 tough games. On back-to-back nights, too. All right, there's an avenue.
Yeah, the schedule makers did the Maple Leafs no favors.
Yeah, these back-to-backs.
10 days.
Yeah, to get 2 points on a back-to-back Florida trip at this time of year is pretty impressive for the Maple Leafs. But I guess we look at, Joel, to finish off the season, 4 games. We might record before. We'll see. 4 games to finish off the season. What would you think the Lightning's record will be?
Probably 3-1, and the loss comes at the hands of New York. I think we go into the playoffs with a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth.
See, I have the same thing as you, but I have it because I think we're going to go 3-1, but I just don't think we're going to be able to catch up to Toronto on that final day. So I think we're resting our players, and we lose that game. 3-1. I think we beat Florida at home, which will be a nice big win, and we just see. And I think over the course of this week, we see some more Victor Hedman goals. He got one tonight. It was a big goal.
That'd be nice.
It got us a point. I see some more Victor Hedman goals.
Makes sense, yeah.
Who are you taking?
Let's go. Give me some more Hagel goals.
Hagel Bagel. So yeah, that's the Lightning. Again, huge homestand. The last homestand of the regular season. 3 games, Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday. Get out to Amalie Arena. Get out to maybe. Hey, again, we always say this. We haven't hit a Lightning game. I might have to go to a playoff game. I love playoff hockey. I might have to drop the bread.
We just saved all our money.
Yeah, we saved all our money to go to a playoff game. So that'll be fun. But yeah, check out the Lightning. Head to the games. Playoffs are hot on the streets. The regular season is closing, and playoffs are in the air. NHL playoffs is one of the best things in all of sports. I'm excited. So we are your home for Lightning coverage. We will be talking Lightning throughout the end of the regular season. We will have a Lightning playoff preview for whoever they play in the first round next week coming out. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the YouTube right now. Leave a comment. Who do you think the Lightning will play in the first round? And how many games will this series go? Will the Lightning win? Will they lose? Will they win in 5 and 6 and 7? What are they losing those? Let us know. Comment down below. Like the video. Subscribe so you can come back for our Lightning playoff preview next week. Anyways, so we got the other team in Tampa. They're going, and this was an agonizing week to be a Tampa Bay Rays fan. Safe to say, the Texas Rangers own our poverty franchise. The Texas Rangers swept the Rays in Arlington and Globe Life Field. The Rays are 2-13 in their last 15 games against Texas. They've lost 7 in a row. The Rays haven't won a game in Globe Life in Arlington since 2022. And,
have we ever beat them in a playoff series?
No,
I
don't think so.
I think we might have won maybe a wild card game against them back in the
I don't think so. I think the Garden we beat Cleveland.
And Oakland.
We beat Oak. I think that's all the wild card we ever had.
Okay, yeah, they've beat us for every playoff series.
Yeah, well, I think 2023, and then they beat us after game
2011.
Oh, they beat us after game 162. That's how you know that they had us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
They took the magic out of the stadium.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, the Rangers own us. Game number 1. Zach Littell pitches pretty solid. 7 innings, 5 earned runs. 4 of those earned runs come on consecutive hits in the 3rd inning. Other than that, Zach Littell, navigated this lineup. But it's not enough. Rays offense only mustered 2 runs, late in the 7th inning. Tyler Mahle was carving them up, 5 innings, shut piece. And then, Josh Smith got an insurance run off Littell late. The Rangers were able to get, go-aheads, insurance runs at will in this series. And then you move on to Saturday. The Rays go down 4-0. Taj Bradley has a tough first inning. Simeon and Berger, home runs, 4-0 Rays. But then the Rays fight back. They get, multiple home runs. Brandon Lau, Johnny DeLuca, off Jacob deGrom. That's who they're facing. They tie the game off Jacob deGrom. But then in the 7th inning, Wyatt Langford hits a home run off Mason Montgomery. This Rays bullpen's been leaky. And it hasn't been just one person. It's been about every single person. It's kind of your April Rays bullpen special, but it's just annoying.
You're right about that, because I was scared about this bullpen going into the season.
Yeah, I mean, I was the opposite. I was really high on this bullpen, but again, it's just they have all the talent, they have all the stuff, they just have been not executing. Walks, misexecuted pitches, bad counts is just getting them back. And then the last game, Rays go down 1-0. It's a back and forth affair. They tie it in the top of the 8th, or the bottom of how could it be the top? Top of the 8th, and then the Rangers walk it off. Jonah Heim, 4-3. Rays get swept. 4-game losing streak. Yeah, and then we haven't been able to see the climax, but the Rays kept that losing going against the Angels. Some just brutal stuff. Shane Baz was spectacular last night. Shane Baz. What a guy. 7 innings, 2 earned runs. The only 2 earned runs he gave up was off of Zach Hampel grabbing a home run. I hate Zach Hampel. I hate him. He's so annoying. He makes stupid content, and he caught the ball over Christopher Morel's glove. Who does that?
And why are you at 2 games within the span of 10 days?
Bro,
go somewhere else.
He has been at Steinberg because he wants to get all. He wants to be up in everyone's business.
I don't know
and be
where
annoying.
I bet you he lives in Orlando. That's my.
He just wants to be in everyone's
assumption.
business, bro, because he's annoying. Gosh. But yeah, he gives up 2 home runs. The
So
Rays.
Zach, if you ever want to partner with us, just let us know.
I refuse. I ain't partnering with Zach Campbell unless we can like throw tomatoes at him, like medieval times.
We can make it happen.
But yeah, Rays go up 3-2 in the 7th inning. Junior gets his first home run of the season. But this started the streak of the Rays having 3 consecutive innings with a man on third and 0 outs and not getting that guy home any single time. The Angels would tie it in the 8th, go ahead in the 9th. Poor defense, poor pitching, walks, all that stuff. And then, again, 9th inning, Rays have 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and don't get a run. It's crazy. And then tonight, the Rays came back. This was the first night where we saw that the Steinbrenner Field short porch helped us out. We got 2 home runs based off of it. Jose Caballero got a 327-foot home run, and Deontay Diaz got a 327-foot home run. Rays won 5-4.
Baby.
Yeah, Rays win 5-4. Pepio again a solid 5 innings, 3 earned runs. Bullpen, except for Mason Montgomery, again does their job. Kevin Kelly, Manrod, Pete all pitched scoreless innings.
Pete had 2 hits again.
1 walk. That's it. Only 1
I'm
walk.
looking at. Oh yeah, you're right. No, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, that's 5 games. Rays go for 1-4. Look to win the series tomorrow. I think it's probably a 1:00 game, a 1:10 game. Joel, what are your thoughts on these current Rays?
I mean, this is the team that I was expecting going into the season, so it's sad to run into them so early. It's just a lack of ability to hit with runners in scoring position. I imagine the team averages probably well into the 100s, if not for the season, definitely within this losing skid right here. Bullpen's pretty leaky, as Colby said. Hopefully we clean that up as the calendar moves into May. I don't know. This is a team fighting to stay out of the cellar of the AL East, I would say, and a team that will be saying sayonara to some of the stars come All-Star break trade deadline if they don't figure this out sooner than later, because as we've said, maybe in conversation off the show, but Colorado and Pittsburgh are cellar dwellers as well. We play some teams of notability or notoriety. No, one of those words. Notoriety. That's the
Notability, I think would fly though.
I don't know.
Notoriety is what you're
one of those multi-syllable words. Yeah, you play good teams and you get stomped on.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I'm willing to kind of extend my criticism of the Rays because of how much the Rangers own us. Like, I almost feel like those games don't count because it really doesn't matter what Rays team it is. You know, I mean, I can remember even like the 2020, 2019 team or 2021 teams. Those teams are great. Those teams struggled with Texas. The 2023 team got swept in Arlington against Texas before Wander Franco got suspended. These are great teams, and it's just Texas, you know, it's just a different animal for the Rays. So I'm willing to kind of look past that. My question to you, Joel, is you said the word clean it up, and this is not like I can't figure it out. What do they need to clean up? Like what is wrong with this team right now?
I mean, it's the age-old issue. Hitting with runners in scoring position. What I think you sent out a stat with our friends. When was the last team to have not been able to get that runner in from third?
It was like hold up. Will sent it. I know he sent it. Okay, ready? The Rays are the first team since 1920, or possibly ever, to have a runner on third with no outs in 3 straight innings and fail to bring any of them home.
I mean, if
that's crazy.
If that doesn't tell the story of the Rays, I don't know what does. So if we can figure that out to where we're maybe getting in 40% of our runners in scoring position, 30, some small marginal number like that, Like maybe we can, get a 600 to 700 winning percentage, but until you figure out something like that, we're in trouble. And as well, I know earlier on, maybe off the camera, you said something about the catcher stats, but some of our outfield stuff's just not looking too hot right now. Like Johnny DeLuca's on the DL, Josh Lowe's on the DL, and then one of our outfielders got a pitch to the face last night or the night before.
He's all right.
He's all right. But again, it just goes to show how, and that was unfortunate. But we have a pretty fragile outfield right now. Like something like that happens to him again, he's out, and it's like, call AAA. It's time to bring the bus up. Get the outfielders.
Rays are bottom 5 in the league in hitting in runners in scoring position.
I would expect it bottom 3.
Well, I don't know. I actually, they're so low down that I have to buy StatMuse Premium to look at it.
Come on, StatMuse. We got to know these things.
But so I have a lot of again. It's early.
I like the optimism. It's good. It's keeping me level.
Well,
keeping me level-headed.
I'm almost not optimistic because I think this is team-wide. For me, I watch the Rays, and I think hitting with runners in scoring position is an issue. I think, obviously, the 3 straight innings, can't get a runner in. That's terrible. I mean, the last inning, it was Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau not getting those guys in. I mean, that's terrible. I think the bottom of the order has actually been really, really good.
Yeah.
DeLuca, it sucks that he got out. He got hurt because I thought he was swinging the bat really well before he got hurt.
That's always how it goes.
It is always how it goes. But I think Mangum has been really good. Meisner has been fantastic. I'm so glad that hit to the head wasn't detrimental. I think Caballero hit a grand slam tonight.
He's phenomenal.
He's been really, really good. I think the bottom of the lineup's been really good. I think the top leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, again, another guy. I mean, you got to shout out Jonathan Aranda. 6 doubles. He's hitting .385 with a 1.183 OPS. Hit his first home run of the season. Been fantastic. Jose Caballero, he's one .net on OPS, 1.020.
So it's a lot of those question marks that are coming in, doing great, but it's our main cast or whatever you would want to call it.
But
our A players.
Mm-hmm. But it goes deeper than that because there's just so many things the Rays have done to lose the game. It's not just the hitting.
Nope.
It's not just the bullpen. It's not just it's everything. Last night, perfect example. I mean, we dropped the pop up. We were able to get out of that. Angels dropped the pop up too. The lights might be a little bit of an issue there in Steinbrenner.
For sure.
But in the 9th inning, the top of the 9th, Pete's pitching, right? We have a ground ball hit right to a third baseman. It's Coco Montes. He just came up, but he comes up for his defense, but whatever. A bobble turns into, you can't turn the double play, and, the runner gets to second, and then the next batter, hits a single. Angels take the lead. I think there's been a lot of times that Junior Caminero has had to sit because of his lack of. He's just not good at third base defensively right now. I think the Rays have really, really, thought that he's going to be able to be at least a league average defender, but it seems like every ball hit at Junior Caminero just gets past him. He's had some errors. He had an error on opening day, I know. I think this is probably the worst Rays defense I've ever seen.
It's definitely up there.
It is jarringly bad. I honestly think, again, I think the thing that concerns me most right now is the Rays defense. I mean, seriously, I think Jonathan Aranda's been solid at first base. Good as just as good as Yandy can be. I mean, maybe Yandy takes away some extra base hits. I don't know. Second base, Brandon Lau is shaky. Made some good plays, but also the ball gets by him.
You can't make the all-star plays.
Yeah. Catching position. I mean, runners are running at will at us. Yeah. I mean, we threw out a couple guys on opening day. I don't think we've gotten a thrown out caught stealing since.
We had one, and it was a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, Texas ran up and down the base pass on us. Third base is a struggle defensively. Outfield is not great either. I mean, we got Morel in left, and, I mean, he's been all right. Moving to a new position, you can be admirable. Johnny DeLuca made a nice catch in one of those games, but also, There's last week's Pittsburgh game where, he dives, misses a ball, and it turns into a triple, in the Paul Skeens game. And it's like, that's a big run. Meisner, Mangum, they're all right. But again, it seems like balls are falling in front of outfielders that haven't in the past. I'm really concerned about this Rays defense. I really am. I think most concerned about... I think I'm just concerned that the Rays aren't winning on the margins anymore. They're not doing the little things to win. They're not keeping the leadoff man off the bases on a 3-2 count. They're walking that player. They're not hitting with runner scoring position. That's the thing. But they're not this is stupid. But last night's game, you have bases loaded, 2 outs. You have a funky lefty coming in for the Angels. He's already just walked a batter, right? I think he might have walked 2. Brandon Lau comes up, left on left. This dude, mound visit, right? This dude has not thrown many strikes. And, first pitch, we're swinging at a ball, Brandon Lau. And we swung at two balls that became strikes because of swinging. And it's just little things. These little things with the Rays, and I don't understand it because it's little things pitching, it's little things defense, it's little things hitting. It's not one person in the order. It's the stars, it's the young guys, it's all of it. And it's like, do we have to have this coaching discussion? Do we have to have the Kevin Cash discussion? Do we have to have the discussion of why is Chad Mottola still the hitting coach? Like seriously, I want to be all on the Kevin Cash train. But I think it's time to acknowledge that this team, since the start of 2024, has not done the little things correctly. They have not made winning plays consistently. Because, again, you can tell me that the Rays are out-talented. I can tell you I don't think so. So, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I would completely agree with you. And you're not the only one in the sports environment of Tampa Bay kind of wondering, if Kevin Cash is coming to the end of the Tampa Bay road. It'll be interesting to see if this continues maybe into 2026, if maybe it's time in the same way that it was time for Joe Madden for a voice, a new identity to come into this Rays team, because again, the fundamentals that we are so familiar with are not coming into play with this team. And I remember it was definitely the Corey Dickerson era, where we really sacrificed defense for the sake of offense, and the offense was there, but that was in a pretty dark era of the pitching. So it reminds me of that, but now it's less forgivable because the defense is not great, and outside of 2 or 3 players, the offense is goodness awful as well.
Well, it's almost more unforgivable because your pitching has been so darn good that you want good defense to back them up.
Yeah.
And it's we can whine and complain why is Taylor Walls in the lineup? I see that from every Rays fan. Guys, he's the only good defender on the team.
And even he lays some eggs every once in a while.
But again, he's been the most consistent. And it's almost dang, you need him out. You need him out there.
Yeah.
You need someone good defensively out in that infield. Because if not, you don't know what's going to happen. It's just frustrating. I'm so frustrated with Junior. I think he's going to come. He's going to get the ball in the air. He reminds me a lot of Yandy Diaz. He has these streaks where he just hits only ground balls, which is frustrating. He's going to have to get the ball in the air. He got it in the air yesterday. But more than that, I'm just frustrated that he has all the athleticism. He has all the ability. You have to be at least a solid third baseman. You're the franchise player. You have to be. And there's times where everyone is whining about why is Junior? Why is he sitting? Why is he getting? He's got an extra rest days. But I'm thinking it's just because of his defense. And you can't not be restable as a franchise player. You can't. So I'm frustrated with Junior in that sense. I'm frustrated with the Rays defense. I'm frustrated with Danny Jansen and Ben Rortvedt, 1 hit combined with both of them. And then again, you hear all these things about Danny Jansen defensively, and it's just the same old. If the Rays are gonna lose the stolen base battle, we're not a slugging team. We're not a team that's gonna bop us out of this problem. So I don't know. I'm just frustrated. But that all being said, these are fixable things.
Yeah.
You can play better defense. You can have a little bit better situational hitting. And again, the top guys. Yandy Diaz hit a home run tonight. Junior hit a home run yesterday. Top guys will come out of their slumps. They'll have hot months. I'm not done with Yandy Diaz. Again, Yandy Diaz had a slow April last year and still ended up with a pretty solid, stat line at the end of the year. I think Junior is going to be fine offensively. You just got to get the ball in the air. These guys are going to come around. Again, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how many losing plays this team has made in the last 5 games for that 5-game losing streak. And it's good that they won tonight.
One of my issues, and it has to do with what you said about Junior Cameron, is I don't know why they're sitting Yandy Diaz as much as they are. Like, I would rather Junior Caminero kind of grow up and be your all-time DH, David Ortiz-esque, and let Yandy Diaz play first base because he's an excellent first baseman. Mm-hmm. And we all know that it helps with his batting just because he's one of those guys who has to stay on the field and let his fielding be more of his focus than his hitting. And I think if you were to switch that, this is again within the thought process of Kevin Cash, I think you'd probably solve 2 birds with 1 stone. You'd have both those guys in the lineup more. And granted, I have not looked at the setup, the working of this infield to what that would look like, who gets cut if you put Diaz into the field.
I think the problem with the putting Diaz in the field and Junior to DH is you kind of who's going to play third base for you. I don't think Yandy can go back to playing third at this old age. Aranda, Meade can service as a third baseman, but you don't want him in the lineup every single day.
We're going to run into the same problem regardless. Because you're getting 2 bats out of that.
Yeah,
instead of 1.
I think if you wanted Yandy at first, you would just kind of have to start making. Which what I thought they would do is have Aranda and Meade be DHs as opposed to first baseman. But yeah, I agree. Like I wouldn't mind getting. Yeah, it makes you wonder. It's like, if Junior was going to be such a bad defensive player, like, why are we so quick to trade Isaac Paredes? It just makes you wonder. I mean,
is there anybody serviceable at shortstop? Could you put Taylor Walls at third and somebody at short?
I mean, you could also put Caballero at third, but again, then if you have Walls and Caballero, maybe, I don't know. I think
the structure of the infield, I think, needs to be changed. Like, that might be one of the easiest fixes, because like everybody says, hitting coach doesn't really change that much on a team, and you can't get a hitter out of a slump that easily, regardless of how hard you try. So maybe just a repositioning of the infield could be a quick fix to the plethora of problems we have right now.
I think a switch-up could be good. I said this last week. I'd like to see Yandy Diaz play the field like once or twice a week at least.
I'd go higher, like 3 or 4.
Again, I would prefer Yandy at first and have Meade and Aranda play DH. Those guys have been coming up. Like, I don't think they played DH.
You can teach them tricks.
Yeah.
To get her a little bit younger.
Yeah. I'm actually there with you, but I think they're very concerned about Yandy Diaz staying healthy. Which is fair, but he's been healthy. I don't know.
At the same time, it's like you sit long enough, you're gonna pull a muscle doing something crazy in the batter's box.
It's possible. To be fair, like we had this whole saga with Rafael Devers, and he started to heat up too. And Yandy hit a home run tonight, so a hot week of Yandy Diaz.
My thing is, I want Junior Caminero to be in this lineup.
Yeah. No, I agree, and he's still going to be in the lineup the majority, but I just think because his defense is lackluster and his bat hasn't been as hot as we want it to be, like that's why there's been a couple days where Caballero's played third base. It's usually Caballero. Like he's usually the only one that covers for him at third base. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess you're not. No, never mind. I was going to say Morel, but Morel's not going back to third base. He stunk there. But yeah, it's just an interesting dilemma. Maybe let's go. Let's be a little bit more positive, and let's talk about the one position group that's been pretty freaking good. That's the Rays starters. Shane Baz yesterday, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. On the season, he's pitched 13 innings. He has a 1.08 WHIP. He has a 1.38 ERA. He has 16 strikeouts and 4 walks. Phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff. And then another guy that really impressed me was Drew Rasmussen. He has a .6 WHIP on the season, a .9 ERA, 10 innings pitched. And himself, he has 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. He had a really good start against Texas on Sunday. He's been really, really good. A couple big innings given up by Taj and by Zach Littell. But those guys kind of rounded in the form and ended up having solid starts other than those blow-up innings. And it just happens. Again, it seemed like everything was going wrong for the Rays in that Texas series. But I think the Rays start has been impressive. Anyone that really sticks out to you, so far?
On the negative side, Taj is concerning just looking at what happened to him last year. Positive, for sure, Boz comes into the conversation. And who else? Was Pepio did pretty good this week?
Pepio's been solid. Pepio pitched 5 to 3 earned runs tonight.
Yeah, and his Pittsburgh game wasn't too bad. 5 innings, two runs. Like that's nothing. Nothing bad.
All right, I'm gonna raise your Taj point and say this: Taj Bradley gave up 2 hits on his game against Texas.
You're right.
Only 2 hits, 2 home runs,
3 walks, but I can forgive that for the hits.
But only 2 hits were home runs.
Yep.
So again, the long ball has bit him. It bit him on Saturday. It was first inning home runs. Those hurt. It was before he got settled in. I'm still overall happy with what I've seen from Taj. Again, Shane Boz, this curveball that he's found, he's throwing it a lot and it has been nasty. He's been the best starter, I think, by far. And then Rasmussen looks dominant. The moment he gets to get stretched out, I mean, he'll be pitching 6, 7, and 8 innings when he's able to. So I think those two have been the best. Littell, not his best stuff. I think he'll bounce back. And then Pepio tonight, again, another solid stuff. I'd like to see some dominant starts from Pepio. But the Rays starters have been good. Bullpen has been leaky. I mean, it just feels like, Clevenger gives up a run the other day. Mason Montgomery gave up that home run to Langford on Saturday. Was it Pete on Sunday? Who gave up that run against the Rangers? Who got walked off? Was it Pete?
I believe so because he had
it was Uceda.
Pete has a loss this season though.
Yes, Pete.
It was earlier.
Pete was yesterday. Pete gave up one yesterday.
I think he had a loss before that too.
So he might. Uceda has now given up a couple runs in this last week. He doesn't seem to be locating or as dominant as he was last year. Would love to see that. Manny Rodriguez, I know, gave up a run recently. He looked tonight though. I watched the game tonight. Manny Rodriguez looked dominant, so that was a good sign. Kevin Kelly, he gave up that home run early, but it seems like it's a joint effort to suck for the Rays bullpen so far. So hopefully they can start honing it in a little bit. And again, Rays bullpen in April. Hold up, I'm gonna look it up. Rays bullpen ERA April 2024. Let's see. Nope, regular season. Rays were in the middle of the pack, 3-7, and then does it? No, it doesn't split. I don't know. We'll maybe get that for you guys next week. Wow, that was crazy.
Oh man, I need it. It looks like Pete Fairbanks is 1-1 on the season so far, but I thought I saw that he had a second loss.
Interesting. He might have given up a 1 lead and made it tied.
Maybe something. ESPN stats are not as good for that. On the score, I can see it quicker.
No, ESPN stats aren't good. But yeah, again, just frustrated. But again, I think me and Joel believe that the Rays, if they play cleaner, they can start getting better results.
And I think I've said this last couple seasons too. That somebody threw out this analogy to where if this was a football game, this would be like the first two downs of the game.
Yeah, it'd be like the first drive.
Yeah,
there'd be the
not even that. We'd probably be on third down or not. Probably be 3rd and 12.
It's possible
in the first drive of the game.
Baker Mayfield scrambled to get a first down.
It's like come on, and the next thing you know, it's first down. So
yeah,
it's like we're nitpicking, but that's what we do.
Yeah, and succeeding will start tomorrow. Like we said, rubber match against the Angels. The Rays are in the midst of a 13-game homestand. That is their longest homestand since 2005. So, again, going to be a crazy homestand. If the Rays can win the rubber match tomorrow, that would be huge. We have Zach Littell versus Jose Soriano for the Angels. That'll be a good pitching duel. We could see that. And then this weekend, the Rays will host the Atlanta Braves. The Rays are struggling, 2-9 on the season. Friday We get AJ Smith-Shawver versus Taj Bradley. That's a couple of young electric pitchers. That'll be fun. Saturday, undecided for the Braves. Drew Rasmussen goes. And then Sunday, that should be Shane Baz versus Chris Sale. Oof. Chris Sale's got a 6.75 ERA, so I'm sure he'll spin a gem against us. And then the Rays will also host the Red Sox next week. Monday night, we'll get to see Tanner Halleck versus Ryan Pepio. Tuesday night, we'll get to see Zach Littell, Walker Buehler. Wednesday night, we'll get to see Taj Bradley versus Mr. Newcomb. I don't know who that is. Sean Newcomb. But, homestand. Predictions, Braves. What's the ratio from Rays to Braves fans this weekend?
65-35 Braves Rays.
I think that might be true. I'm really nervous. Like, I feel this obligation to go as a Rays fan who's loud to combat the noise, but I also I think it's gonna suck.
I like going when there's a lot of those other fans because I can trash talk my socks off.
Yeah, that's true. It's
like
just like
if you need trash talking practice,
well,
go to a Rays game against one of the original teams.
It will maybe in Tampa more Rays fans will trash talk and it will be better. But at Trop, it's just like old people are looking at you from both sides, so maybe it'll be better.
And the Rays fans that are there like stop trash talking them.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe the Tampa Rays fans will be a little bit more rowdy.
Good.
Red Sox Rays crowd ratio predictions. 75?
I'll go 70-30.
I'm gonna say 75. I'm really nervous.
I feel like Red Sox fans don't travel as much as you think.
Yeah, Braves fans are going to be there because
they're only there
yeah.
every 2 years.
Yeah, the last Braves series in the Trop was a lot of Braves fans. I remember.
I mean, Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh. I'd say the Pittsburgh fans are probably 55-45. Maybe one or the other. Probably 45.
No
Pittsburgh.
way.
Probably 45 Pittsburgh. 55
I wouldn't give
Rays.
Pittsburgh 30.
Really? I mean, there was a lot of Pittsburgh fans there.
You're mistaking the security guards right now. I think you are.
Maybe.
I think you are. Yeah, I've been sellouts in these Angels series too, so we'll see. But yeah.
Wait, I have a closing point. So I was just looking at this, and Pete Fairbanks was born in Milwaukee. So if this season goes south, I think he might have a homecoming.
All right.
Indoors.
The problem is the Brewers are just like we are. They're not going to spin on a.
No, that's a mid-season trade. Plays indoors, so no worries about the cold.
Milwaukee brings all their relievers up in-house, and they just are disgusting for some reason. I'm telling you. But maybe I could see Pete on like a Padres or Giants.
Yeah, I could see that. Some West team.
But yeah, 6-game record predictions. Braves, Red Sox, 6 games. I think we're going to win tomorrow, and we're going to win both series. I think we're going 4-2. I think the Rays are flipping it.
4-2 does sound nice, but I guess I'll just, for the sake of keeping it different, I'll go 3-3.
All right.
3-3, 2 out of 3 for Red Sox, 1 out of 2, or 1 out of 3 for Braves.
Okay. Any home run predictions? We're slacking on Instagram. We're about to go over again. We gotta lock it in. Let's get a home run from the catcher. What's his name? Danny Jansen.
Let's get one from him.
I'll go. I think Yandy will get another one. Actually, Junior. Junior's gonna hit 2. I ranted about him. He's gonna hit 2.
I mean, those guys better start. It's like for the catcher, I'm just wishing that one into existence.
Yeah. They better. Yeah. He's gonna hit one.
I don't think he'll get double-digit home runs. Like, he'll figure it out.
I hope. I really hope. But yeah, that's episode 80. Lightning and Rays, both in 2 different positions. So let us know your thoughts. Where would the Lightning end up? Who would you like to play in the first round? Rays, is this a permanent problem or an early season problem? Who needs to step up the most? What have you guys noticed about these Rays game? A lot of good feedback about Rays stuff on our Instagram yesterday. I enjoyed it. But yeah, follow us on that Instagram. We post a bunch of content. Follow us on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. There we go. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Spotify, hit the 5 stars. Hit the follow. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed night.